Thomas Alva Edison is one of well-known inventors. His name is linked with the light bulb, the phonograph, and the early motion picture camera. Edison helped change the way people live by bringing electricity into homes and by recording sound. Yet, his life is more than a list of inventions. It is a story of curiosity, hard work, challenges, and sometimes painful choices. This biography shows how a poor, curious child grew up to become a man whose ideas brighten the world. It also examines the difficult controversies that arose along the way. Thomas Edison was born on February 11, 1847, in the quiet town of Milan, Ohio. His family was not wealthy. His father worked in the wood trade, and his mother, once a teacher, cared for him with gentle patience. Even in a modest home, young Thomas was never without questions. He would watch the flicker of a candle or the gentle glow of a lamp and wonder about the secrets of light and energy. From his earliest days, Edison was different from other children. While many children played simple games, he spent his time exploring how things worked. In one memorable story, he once tried to hatch an egg by keeping it warm with his own body heat. His unusual behavior led some teachers to call him addled because he did not fit in with the standard school routine. However, his mother recognized his special mind. She taught him at home, reading him books, and encouraging his experiments. In this safe and nurturing environment, Edison's love for discovery was born. His early years were filled with simple joys. He collected broken toys, unscrewed household gadgets, and examined every object with wonder. In his small attic, he set up a corner filled with bits of metal, glass, and wood. Each piece was a treasure and a potential tool for his next experiment. This early passion for understanding and improving everyday objects laid the foundation for his future work. Edison's life at home was quiet, yet vibrant with ideas. His mother, gentle and wise, read to him stories of the natural world. These stories made him dream of a future where human ingenuity could overcome darkness and silence. Despite the limited formal education he received, only a few months at school, Thomas's self-taught knowledge grew from the books his mother shared with him and the experiments he carried out on his own. Every day, in that small town in Ohio, a young boy's mind sparked with ideas that would one day light up cities. As Edison grew older, he was forced to leave the comforts of home to support his family. In his teens, he took on various small jobs that exposed him to the world outside Milan. One of his first jobs was selling newspapers and candies on trains. This job was not glamorous, but it was full of life lessons. Working on the trains, Edison observed the steady clatter of wheels, the rush of wind, and the hum of machinery. He noticed how the engine's spark would sometimes send a flash of light into the dark night. These small observations began to stir his thoughts about electricity. On the train, he scribbled notes on scraps of paper, jotting down ideas inspired by the motion and noise around him. During these busy years, Edison also experienced moments of failure. Once, while experimenting with a small chemical reaction, he nearly started a fire in a train car. The incident frightened him, but it also taught him an important lesson. Every experiment, even a dangerous one, held clues to a better understanding of the natural world. Rather than give up, he took careful notes and vowed to try again more safely next time. This attitude, seeing failure as a stepping stone rather than a defeat, became a core part of his character. Another significant challenge was the gradual loss of his hearing. In his mid-teens, a mishap during one of his experiments led to a serious hearing impairment. Many believed that such a loss might hold him back, but Edison turned it into an advantage. With less distraction from the outside world, he found that he could focus more deeply on his work. In the quiet that followed, he learned to listen to his inner thoughts and ideas. This silence, far from being a curse, gave him a unique ability to concentrate and innovate. Young Edison also developed the habit of keeping detailed notebooks. Every experiment, whether a success or a failure, was carefully recorded. These notebooks became his treasure trove of ideas. In them, he charted his progress and learned from each setback. They were like a diary of discovery, showing a young mind that was always active, always questioning, and always learning. Through these early years on the move, Edison's character took shape. He was no longer just a curious boy. He was a determined young man who had learned that hard work, careful observation, and the willingness to take risks were the keys to innovation. His experiences on the trains and in his early experiments would serve as the building blocks for his future achievements. In his early 20s, Thomas Edison began to see that his ideas could be turned into practical devices. He filed his first patent for an electronic voting counter. This small machine, designed to count votes automatically, was not a world-changing invention by itself. However, it was the spark that ignited his passion for innovation. The success of his first patent taught Edison that even modest ideas could be built upon. He saw that by testing and refining his designs, he could improve everyday devices. His early projects were humble, but full of promise. Edison often worked late into the night, fueled by a mix of caffeine and a burning desire to make things work. In his cramped workspace, every failed experiment was a new piece of the puzzle. During this period, Edison's writing in his notebooks became more detailed. He described not only what he had done, but also what he had learned from each attempt. This habit of careful documentation was rare at the time, and showed his systematic approach to problem-solving. He would draw sketches of his devices, write down the measurements, and note every observation. This clear record-keeping was one of the keys to his later success. The environment in which Edison began his work was not yet the bustling laboratory of his later years. Instead, it was a small room filled with borrowed tools and found objects. Yet, even in that modest setting, his mind raced with ideas. Each invention, no matter how small, was a stepping stone. He experimented with devices that harnessed electricity in simple ways: switches, small motors, and early batteries. These experiments were not just technical exercises. They were moments of joy and discovery that set the stage for his later, grander inventions. Edison's early innovations were driven by a practical need to solve problems. He did not seek fame or fortune at first. He simply wanted to see if his ideas could work in the real world. This humble attitude is what gave his work an honest quality. The determination to see an idea through, even when the tools and resources were limited, is what makes his early years so inspirational. In 1876, Edison moved to Menlo Park, New Jersey. This was the turning point in his life. At Menlo Park, he established a laboratory that was unlike any other. Here, he gathered a small team of helpers, engineers, and assistants. Together, they created an environment of constant experimentation and creativity. Menlo Park became known as the Invention Factory because it produced ideas and inventions at an unprecedented pace. The laboratory was filled with work tables, drawing boards, and shelves stacked with tools and materials. Edison's team did not work in silence. The room was alive with the sounds of machinery, the murmur of discussion, and the occasional cheer when an experiment succeeded. Edison was not content to work alone. He believed that by collaborating with others, he could achieve more than he ever could by himself. At Menlo Park, the team tackled one of Edison's grand ideas, creating a practical electric light. This project was unlike anything he had attempted before. The room became a theater of experiments. Edison and his assistants tested hundreds of different materials for the filament, the thin wire that would glow when heated by electricity. They tried cotton, paper, and even animal hair. Each experiment was unique, and each failure was noted carefully. In this period, there was little repetition in their work. Every test was a fresh attempt, and every failure led them in a new direction. One vivid day stands out in the memory of Menlo Park. The team was working in a dim corner of the laboratory, lit only by flickering candles. Edison, with grease on his hands and eyes filled with determination, guided an assistant as they carefully threaded a piece of carbonized bamboo into a tiny bulb. The moment the current flowed, the filament glowed steadily for several precious minutes. There was a collective gasp from the team. That day, a breakthrough was made, not because everything was perfect, but because the glow of that small filament opened a path toward a future filled with light. In addition to the light bulb, Menlo Park was the birthplace of another remarkable invention, the phonograph. This device could record sounds and play them back. Imagine the wonder on the faces of the audience when, for the first time, they heard a machine recite words or sing a tune. Edison's phonograph was simple in design, but revolutionary in impact. It was as if the magic of human voice had been trapped in a small, mechanical box. The excitement in the laboratory was palpable, and every person there felt that they were witnessing a piece of history. The spirit of Menlo Park was one of constant forward motion. There were no long-winded lectures or monotonous routines. Every day brought new experiments, fresh ideas, and unexpected results. The laboratory was a place of art and science combined, a vibrant space where failure was celebrated as a part of the learning process. The energy and enthusiasm of this period are a testament to what can be achieved when people work together in a creative environment. The electric light bulb is perhaps the invention that most clearly changed the world. Before Edison's work, people relied on candles, gas lamps, or oil lamps to light their homes. These methods were often dim, unsafe, and expensive. Edison saw a world where light was available at the flick of a switch, a world where darkness could be chased away with steady, bright light. The process of creating the light bulb was long and full of obstacles. At Menlo Park, Edison and his team experimented with thousands of different materials to find the right filament. Each material had its own characteristics. Some burned out too quickly, others did not produce enough light. Instead of repeating the same tests, the team moved from one new idea to the next. They did not linger on a failed method for long. Instead, every setback was a chance to try a different approach. One memorable experiment involved a filament made from a natural fiber. The team carefully prepared the fiber by heating it until it turned black and brittle. Then, they placed it inside a small glass bulb and connected it to a source of electricity. When the power was turned on, the fiber began to glow softly. With each adjustment, the glow became steadier and brighter. Finally, the team celebrated when the bulb lit up the entire laboratory for the first time in a steady, warm light. This achievement was more than a technical breakthrough. It was a symbol of progress that promised to bring a new era of convenience and safety to people's lives. The light bulb not only changed how people lit their homes, it transformed society. It made it possible for factories to work at night, for cities to be safer, and for people to enjoy longer, more productive evenings. Edison's invention was a beacon of hope in an era when darkness limited human activity. It is no exaggeration to say that the electric light bulb helped shape modern civilization. Edison's work on the light bulb was a story of endless experiments, creative thinking, and learning from each mistake. Every test brought new insights, and every failure pushed the team to explore further. This relentless pursuit of a solution is one of the most inspiring parts of his life. The light bulb is not just an invention, it is a lesson in perseverance. Edison's story tells us that even when the answers seem far away, hard work and ingenuity can eventually bring light to the darkest places. While Edison was busy inventing, he was also learning how to turn his ideas into a business. He understood that a good idea must reach the people who need it. To do this, he built companies and organized teams that could manufacture and sell his inventions. Edison was very active in filing patents. Over his lifetime, he secured more than 1,000 patents. Each patent was a legal document that said, "This idea is mine." Edison used these patents to protect his work from competitors. He also used them as a way to build a business empire. One of the first companies he started was the Edison Electric Light Company. This company was the foundation for what would later become General Electric, a company that still plays a big role in our modern world. At Menlo Park and later in his business ventures, Edison was not alone. He hired many assistants, engineers, and technicians. These teams helped him refine his inventions and bring them to market. His business style was direct and practical. He focused on results and was willing to fight in court to protect his ideas. Although some critics say his methods were too harsh, there is no doubt that his approach helped him succeed. Edison's business life was full of exciting challenges. He had to navigate complex legal battles and fierce competition. His aggressive use of patents sometimes led to disputes with other inventors. These disputes remind us that great ideas can lead to great battles. Edison's legal fights were long and difficult, but they also pushed him to improve his inventions and his business strategies. Despite the challenges, Edison's business ventures had a lasting impact. His ideas reached millions of people, and his companies helped bring electricity and modern technology to every corner of the globe. His work in the business world shows that innovation is not only about having brilliant ideas, but also about making those ideas useful and accessible to others. The lessons from Edison's business life are clear. Protect your ideas, work well with your team, and never be afraid to fight for what you believe in. His example teaches us that success in business requires as much creativity and determination as success in science. No story of success is without controversy. Even as Edison's inventions lit up the world, his career was marked by disputes and difficult choices. These controversies give us a fuller picture of the man behind the inventions. One of the most well-known controversies is the debate over who truly invented the light bulb. Many inventors, such as Joseph Swan, had been working on similar ideas before Edison. Edison's great achievement was in making a practical and long-lasting light bulb. However, the legal battles over the patents lasted for many years. Critics argue that Edison was too aggressive in protecting his ideas, and that he sometimes took credit for work that was not entirely his own. This controversy reminds us that innovation is often a collective effort. Edison's method of improving on others' ideas is a common part of how technology evolves, even though it can lead to heated disputes. Another heated conflict in Edison's life was the so-called War of Currents. Edison was a strong supporter of direct current DC electricity. He had built his business around DC systems and was deeply invested in that technology. At the same time, engineers like Nikola Tesla and companies led by George Westinghouse were developing alternating current AC systems, which proved to be more effective for long-distance power transmission. Edison's fierce defense of DC led him to take dramatic steps. He carried out public demonstrations that showed the dangers of AC by, for instance, electrocuting animals. These actions have been widely criticized as cruel and have sparked ethical debates that still continue today. The conflict with Nikola Tesla is another notable chapter. Tesla, who once worked with Edison, had a different vision of how electricity should be used. A promise made by Edison regarding bonus pay was never fulfilled, and Tesla left the company. This personal and professional rift became legendary. The two men had very different approaches. Edison was a practical inventor and shrewd businessman, while Tesla was a visionary engineer with ideas that were ahead of his time. Their split shows that even brilliant minds can clash when money, promises, and pride are involved. Edison's extensive use of patents is also a subject of controversy. While his patents helped him secure his ideas and build his companies, many critics say that his aggressive patent strategy stifled further innovation by other inventors. The legal battles over his patents were long and sometimes bitter. These disputes serve as a reminder that success in the world of invention often comes with difficult and sometimes ethically questionable decisions. Though these controversies paint a complex picture, they also make Edison's story more real. They show that progress is not always clean, and that even great inventors have made mistakes. These conflicts invite us to think critically about what it means to succeed. Edison's life teaches us that hard work and innovation can have a cost, and that every great achievement often comes with a mix of triumph and turmoil. Even as he became one of the world's most famous inventors, Edison never stopped exploring new ideas. In his later years, he continued to push the boundaries of technology. One of his exciting ventures was in the field of motion pictures. Edison helped to build one of the first movie studios. His early films were short, simple, and full of everyday scenes. Despite their simplicity, these films captured the imagination of audiences. Edison's work in this area helped to spark the birth of the film industry. He saw that movies could tell stories, entertain, and educate. His early experiments with moving pictures were like a magic window into a new world, and they opened the door to an industry that now spans the globe. At the same time, Edison continued to refine his earlier inventions. He did not rest on the success of the light bulb or the phonograph. In 1908, he introduced a new filament made from tungsten. This innovation greatly increased the lifespan of the electric light bulb. With a more durable bulb, the promise of electric light became even more practical and affordable for everyday use. Edison's continual improvements show that innovation is an ongoing process. Even after a breakthrough, there is always room for improvement. During these years, Edison also began to reflect on his long journey. He often spoke about the lessons he had learned from countless experiments and failures. In interviews and public speeches, he shared his thoughts on the importance of perseverance, creativity, and learning from mistakes. Edison's reflections were not merely technical. They were about life itself. He spoke with sincerity about the ups and downs of his career and the human cost of progress. These later ventures and personal reflections give us a picture of Edison as a lifelong learner. Even as he achieved great fame, he never lost his appetite for discovery. He continued to work with energy and passion, always searching for the next great idea. His willingness to embrace new challenges, even later in life, inspires us to remain curious and determined no matter our age. Edison's later years remind us that the spirit of innovation does not end with success. It evolves and adapts. His ability to look forward while reflecting on the past offers a powerful lesson. Every stage of life holds the potential for new beginnings and continuous growth. The story of Thomas Edison is a rich tapestry woven with threads of hope, perseverance, and creative brilliance. From a curious child in a small Ohio town to a man whose inventions transformed the modern world, Edison's journey is one of constant growth and discovery. Throughout his life, Edison demonstrated that greatness comes not from avoiding failure, but from embracing it as a vital part of the learning process. His willingness to experiment, to collaborate, and to fight for his ideas, even in the face of fierce competition and harsh criticism, reminds us that the path to success is rarely smooth. Edison's life also challenges us to think about the true meaning of innovation. It is not enough to have a brilliant idea. One must also work hard to make it real and useful. Edison's relentless efforts to improve his inventions, to build a supportive team, and to navigate the complexities of business and law are lessons that continue to inspire inventors and dreamers everywhere. Yet, his story is also a reminder that no one is perfect. The controversies that marked his career, whether in disputes over patents or in the ethical dilemmas of the War of Currents, show us that even the most successful individuals have their flaws. Edison's life encourages us to look at history with both admiration and critical thought. By learning from both his achievements and his mistakes, we can better understand the challenges of true innovation. In the end, Thomas Edison's legacy is a celebration of the human spirit. It is a testament to what can be achieved when we dare to be curious, when we work together, and when we persist despite the obstacles. His light continues to shine in every modern home, in every recording, and in every innovation that seeks to make the world a better place. May his story inspire you to ask questions, to embrace your failures, and to always look for new ways to bring light into the darkness. Edison's life is not just about inventions. It is about the enduring power of human creativity and determination. To help you think more deeply about Edison's life and its lessons, consider these questions. How do you learn from mistakes? Edison turned every failure into a lesson. Can you recall a time when a mistake taught you something valuable? How did that experience help you grow? Was Edison a hero or a bully? He helped millions but hurt rivals like Tesla. Can great success ever be kind? What lessons do you take from Edison's life? Reflect on the qualities that made Edison successful. Curiosity, persistence, and creativity. How can you apply these lessons in your own life? Thomas Edison's life is a long, fascinating journey of discovery and innovation. His work brought light to dark places and sound to silent rooms. His spirit of curiosity and his relentless pursuit of improvement continue to inspire us today. Edison teaches us that every step, even a misstep, is part of the path to success. This biography has shared the key chapters of his life, from his early days filled with wonder in a small Ohio town, through the bustling creativity of Menlo Park, to the later years of reflection and new ventures. Each part of his journey is a lesson in determination, collaboration, and the cost of progress. Edison's story is not simply about inventions, it is about the human experience of striving to make the world a better place, even when the road is filled with challenges and controversy. May you carry the light of Edison's ideas in your own heart. Let his story remind you that curiosity, hard work, and learning from failure are the keys to unlocking your potential. And remember that every great innovation comes with both brilliant successes and difficult choices. Thank you for joining this journey through the life of Thomas Edison. His legacy, full of both luminous achievements and challenging controversies, continues to teach us that the spark of curiosity can light the world.